Hello there, welcome to Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor with you. You're watching News Tonight, where we get you a complete roundup of the day's top stories. So let us start with the news bulletin. India is steadily improving its rate of recovery from the novel coronavirus infections. By Monday, over 41% of the total coronavirus cases have been cured so far. But on the flip side, nearly 7,000 new cases of coronavirus have been reported in the last 24 hours. On Sunday, India witnessed its fourth straight biggest spike in COVID-19. According to the Health Ministry, there were 6,977 fresh cases of coronavirus infections, taking the total number of people affected so far to 1,38,845. The 154 deaths took the total number of fatalities past 4,000 in the last 24 hours. Maharashtra saw the biggest spike in daily COVID-19 count on Sunday. The number of COVID-19 patients has exceeded 50,000 in the state. Total deaths were 1,635. Tamil Nadu also added over 700 new coronavirus cases on Sunday. 16,277 people are infected in the state. Nearly 50% cases, 8,324 patients were discharged from the hospital after recovery. Delhi witnessed 14,053 cases of novel coronavirus so far. Nearly 7,000 of these are active cases. The number of COVID-19 cases reached 14,000 in Gujarat. Over 300 new cases were detected in the last 24 hours. The death toll has risen to 858. So far, 276 people have succumbed to the infection. India has significantly ramped up COVID-19 testing since the first test on 24th of January. In the last 24 months, testing has increased 100 times. Indian Council of Medical Research tested over 30 lakh samples so far. In 24 hours, 90,170 samples have been tested. Against the upsurge in national figures, a slowdown is also seen in some of the earlier troubled states. The growth in cases has fallen below the national level in states like Gujarat, Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh. As of now, new infections are driven by Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu and Delhi. Maharashtra, which had about 1/5 of India's entire caseload 2 months ago, now accounts for over 1/3 of all the confirmed infections in the country. Union Health Minister Harshvardhan on Sunday said at least 4 of the 14 candidate vaccines for novel coronavirus in the country may enter the clinical trial stage very soon. However, he cautioned it is too early to expect any vaccine as it could take a minimum of 1 year, even if it is developed at the earliest. The health minister reiterated that social distancing, masks and hygiene are the biggest safeguard against the disease. According to a study, the gradual relaxation of lockdown measures and movement of the migrant population could lead to COVID-19 cases peaking between 21st to 28th of June. Maximum daily positive cases could range around 7,000 to 7,500 in this period. A clear downward trend is likely to be observed each day from the second week of July. With increased testing and proper measures, a gradual flattening of the trajectory is expected within October. On to the other big story of the day. Domestic passenger flights resumed across the country today after nearly 2 months. The Delhi airport saw its first departure at 4:45 am to Pune, while Mumbai airport's first departure was at 6:45 am to Patna. The first day also saw many flight cancellations as several states raised concern over the resumption of flights. Of the scheduled 380 flights from New Delhi, 82 were cancelled by afternoon. More than 20 flights were cancelled in Bengaluru, leading to chaos for the passengers. Limited flight operations in Andhra Pradesh will start from tomorrow. In cyclone-hit West Bengal, flight operations will start from the 28th of May on a limited scale. Maharashtra has allowed 50 flights daily, including 25 takeoffs and 25 landings at the Chhatrapati Shivaji International Airport from today. Tamil Nadu also allowed a maximum of 25 arrivals at Chennai airport. However, there is no limit on departures. All arrangements have been made at the airports to ensure contactless boarding and adequate social distancing to prevent the spread of novel coronavirus. Passengers have been asked to reach the airport 2 hours before departure. Passengers have to walk through thermal screening zone before entering terminal building. No physical check-in, only passengers with confirmed web check-in allowed to board. Passengers to wear protective gear including gloves, masks while entering airports. Airport operators have been directed to make arrangements for sanitization of baggage. Airport staff to be in full protective gear. Airport terminals to be disinfected regularly. Passengers to be allowed to board in badges. All passengers are required to show their status on Arogya Setu app except children less than 14 years of age. Asymptomatic passengers will be allowed to go with the advice that they self-monitor their health for 14 days. Elderly, pregnant ladies and children have been advised to avoid air travel for now.
Yeah, actually we trapped in Delhi city capital, okay. Actually we went for internship from Japan only, so we stuck there. We don't have any other train, bus, anything. So I don't know how we managed there for 2 months. Then after that suddenly we got the flight. So flight they are carrying everything nicely only, sanitizing everything. Then everything they are taking care of. They are giving mask, sanitizer, everything they are giving. So it's okay only. So
मतलब पहली फ़्लाइट निकल रही है आज पटना के लिए, तो सर इसलिए मैंने फ़र्स्ट टिकट बुक करके मैं सोच रहा हूँ कि जल्दी से जल्दी जाऊँ, अपने पेरेंट्स से मिलूँ, क्योंकि काफ़ी टाइम से लॉकडाउन में फंसा हुआ था, तो जिसके वजह से काफ़ी सारी प्रॉब्लम्स भी आ रही थी। बट ये गवर्नमेंट के थ्रू एक अच्छा स्टेप है कि हमें अपने घर भेजा जा रहा है, ये स्टार्ट कर दिया गया है फ़्लाइट्स, तो काफ़ी अच्छा लग रहा है सर।
Several states including Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Tamil Nadu, Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Kerala, Karnataka, Assam, Chhattisgarh, Meghalaya, Odisha and J&K have mandated either institutional or home quarantine for passengers arriving in their states. The centre announced last Thursday that 1/3 of pre-lockdown domestic flights would begin operations from today. In some other news, special Air India flights continue to bring Indian nationals from overseas on Monday under the Vande Bharat mission. A special aircraft of Air India carrying 150 people from Kazakhstan arrived in Jaipur at 5:30 p.m. On Monday, an Air India flight from Sydney will arrive in Ahmedabad via Delhi at 10 p.m. These flights will bring back 243 passengers. Other special flights arriving on Monday include Melbourne to Kochi via Delhi with 243 passengers. The Indian High Commission in London has said that so far 3,400 Indians have been repatriated by 11 flights from the UK and more flights will be planned in the future. On Sunday, the government issued a fresh standard operating protocol for the return of Indians stranded abroad due to the coronavirus lockdown, saying it would be a paid service and preference would be given to people in distress, including pregnant women and those who had lost their jobs. The second phase of the repatriation program started on the 16th of May and will continue till the 13th of June. The maximum number of flights are scheduled from the UAE. A list of 57 flights has been declared as of now from Dubai and 26 more flights from Abu Dhabi. At least 140 flights have been scheduled, which is likely to benefit 23,000 Indians. From UAE, approximately 6,000 Indians were repatriated under the Vande Bharat mission during the last more than 2 weeks. Close to 2 lakh Indians in the UAE had registered to go back. And as many as 30,134 passengers have returned to their native places across the country in the last few days aboard the Shramik Express trains. A Shramik special train carrying migrants departed from Hubli for Bihar's Darbhanga on Monday. The train was carrying 1,532 passengers who underwent thermal screening before entering the railway station. All passengers were seen maintaining social distancing at the platform and were also wearing masks. Earlier in the day, a Shramik special train carrying 1,578 migrant passengers departed from KSR Bengaluru City Railway Station for Balasore in Odisha. Meanwhile, over 2.55 lakh migrant workers were ferried to Odisha in 101 Shramik special trains from different parts of the country between the 3rd and the 24th of May. According to the East Coast Railway, nearly 48 of the 101 trains were from Gujarat. Maximum trains originated from Surat station, bringing back nearly 1 lakh migrant workers to Odisha, mostly Ganjam district. Migrants also came in from Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Kerala and New Delhi. 14 special Shramik trains have left for Odisha on Sunday from Tamil Nadu, Hyderabad, Surat, Bengaluru and Andhra Pradesh. Moving on, Rajya Sabha Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu reviewed the preparedness for the resumption of regular meetings of the department-related parliamentary standing committees. In a meeting with Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla and Parliamentary Affairs Minister Prahlad Joshi on 23rd May, the Rajya Sabha chairman had discussed the possibility of holding meetings while following social distancing norms. Secretaries General of both houses were also present in the meeting. As per sources, it was decided that the participation of officials from both the secretariats and ministries would be kept to a bare minimum. 9 rooms in the Parliament House and its Annexe building have been identified for holding regular meetings of 24 department-related standing committees. Another 6 rooms are identified for meetings of other committees of both houses. Rajya Sabha chairman has also told officials of the Secretariat to make preparations for swearing in of 37 new members who have been elected unopposed. And now the global update on the coronavirus pandemic. The world is slowly returning back to normal despite the novel coronavirus far from being wiped out. Despite a death toll nearing 1 lakh in their country, Americans flooded newly reopened beaches and parks across the US, ignoring social distancing altogether. The US accounts for the most number of cases with over 1.6 million active cases. The Trump administration, however, has banned entry for foreigners who have been in Brazil during the previous 14 days. This after Brazil emerged as the world's second worst hit country for corona cases, with over 3.5 lakh confirmed cases registered. Russia has also confirmed over 8,500 new COVID-19 cases in the last 24 hours, raising its total number of infections to over 3,40,000. Meanwhile, Spain is preparing to reopen some of its beaches, while restaurants and bars in Madrid and Barcelona will serve clients in outdoor seating areas as the country relaxes its lockdown. But travel between provinces will remain prohibited until late June, and international tourists will not be allowed to come until July. France reported the lowest rise in the number of cases of COVID-19, raising hopes that the worst is over for the country. The UK, on the other hand, is preparing to open schools from June 1st as the government seeks to further loosen lockdown measures. Meanwhile, Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe lifted the state of emergency in Tokyo and 4 remaining areas on Monday after the number of infections fell across the country. Across the world, novel coronavirus cases are now more than 5.5 million, while the death toll stands above 3,47,000. And in some international news, US President Donald Trump's national security advisor has pushed for the world leaders to meet in person for the G7 summit, which the US is considering hosting in the month of June.
Speaking on a television program, National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien said that the in-person meeting would be a chance for the leaders to decide how to get their economies reopened and work together to get out of the COVID crisis. He added that the US has got a great response from the invitations that have been extended so far. He also said the US officials will ensure a safe environment for the leaders who come to attend the summit. Donald Trump had scheduled the G7 summit for June 10 to 12 at Camp David, the presidential retreat in Maryland. But in March, he announced he was cancelling the annual meeting because of the pandemic and that the leaders would confer by video conference instead. However, last week Donald Trump said he was considering holding a meeting in the US with the leaders of the world's major economies, saying it would be a great sign to all of things returning to normal during the coronavirus pandemic.
And now the weather update. As the temperature in North India soars with each passing day, the Indian Meteorological Department has warned that the heat wave is likely to persist over the next few days. The IMD issued color-coded warnings depending on the intensity of any weather system in ascending order. The IMD has issued a red alert for a severe heat wave for parts of Delhi, Punjab, Haryana, Chandigarh, Rajasthan and parts of Madhya Pradesh for the next 2 days. An orange warning has been issued for eastern Uttar Pradesh, while yellow warning has been issued for western Uttar Pradesh. The IMD cautioned that temperatures could soar up to 47 degrees Celsius in red alert areas over the next 2-3 days. The weather department has also cautioned people not to step out during 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. as the intensity of the heat is the most at that time. In its advisory, the IMD asked people to drink water to prevent dehydration. On Sunday, Delhi simmered with the maximum temperature hovering close to 45 degrees Celsius in most parts of the city. IMD added that heat wave conditions in isolated pockets over Chhattisgarh, Odisha, Gujarat, central Maharashtra and Vidarbha, coastal Andhra Pradesh, Yanam, Rayalaseema and north interior Karnataka are also likely during the next 3 to 4 days.
3 दिनों तक दिल्ली एनसीआर में तापमान काफ़ी हाई रहेगा और हीट वेव की कंडीशन बनी रहेगी। 27 तारीख के बाद हमारे पास एक वेस्टर्न डिस्टर्बेंस का प्रभाव 28 तारीख में प्रभावित करेगा दिल्ली एनसीआर को। साथ ही साथ पूर्वी हवाएं उत्तर प्रदेश से भी आना शुरू हो जाएंगी, जिनका प्रभाव 27 तारीख की रात और 28 तारीख से पड़ना शुरू होगा। इससे तापमान में 28 तारीख में गिरावट आएगी और हीट वेव की कंडीशन दिल्ली एनसीआर में कम हो जाएगी।
In some other news, swarms of desert locusts swept Rajasthan's Jaipur on Monday.
State officials said the crop-munching insects came from Didwana in Nagaur and entered Jaipur through Kishangarh, Renwal and Jobner before reaching Dausa. The insect onslaught has affected over half of Rajasthan's 33 districts. The loss due to the insect invasion is estimated to be about 1,000 crore rupees. On Sunday, swarms of locusts attacked the Malhargarh area of Madhya Pradesh Mandsaur district. The locusts that entered Mandsaur and Neemach on the 17th of May have swept into 10 more districts since then. The insect onslaught has also spread to Uttar Pradesh, Punjab and Gujarat. Authorities across the country have stepped up vigil and deployed drones to map the movement of locusts. This is the second round of locust attack in India. The first one was during December to February. The desert locust is the most destructive migratory pest in the world. A single swarm covering 1 square kilometer can have up to 80 million locusts. The United Nations has warned that armies of locusts swarming across continents pose a severe risk to India's agriculture this year. Scientists are blaming the higher frequency of cyclones originating in the Indian Ocean to the rise in these locust attacks this year.
And former Indian hockey player and 3-time Olympic champion Balbir Singh Dosanjh passed away in Chandigarh after prolonged illness. He was 96 years old. A hockey legend, Balbir Singh was a key member of the Indian Olympic side from 1948 to 1956. Balbir Singh was also the captain and one of the best centre forwards of all times. Later, he was the manager of the Indian side in 1975 that won the World Cup, the only side to do so till date. In 1957, he became the first sportsperson to be awarded the Padma Shri. Fondly known as Balbir Singh Sr., he was the only Indian and hockey player among 16 legends chosen by the International Olympic Committee across modern Olympic history during the 2012 London Olympics. His world record for most goals scored by an individual in the men's hockey final of the Olympics remains unbeaten. Balbir Singh scored 5 goals in the India's 6-1 win over the Netherlands in the gold medal match of the 1952 Helsinki Games. The sporting and political fraternity mourned the death of the hockey legend. And Eid-ul-Fitr was celebrated across India and the world amid the COVID-19 lockdown. Celebrations were low-key since mosques were closed and people conducted Eid prayers indoors due to the lockdown. The traditional crowds were missing at the historical Jama Masjid in Delhi as the gates remained closed following the appeal of Shahi Imam Sayyid Ahmad Bukhari to people to offer namaz inside their homes. The President, Vice President and Prime Minister extended Eid greetings on Twitter. President Ramnath Kovind extended his wishes to people celebrating the festival. In a message on Twitter, he described Eid as an expression of love, fraternity, peace and harmony that reaffirms the belief in sharing with and caring for the vulnerable and needy. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu posted his Eid message in 3 languages on Twitter, calling for social distancing and celebrations at home. The Vice President described Eid as an occasion for families and communities to come together. He also requested everyone to follow safety norms of social distancing. Extending greetings on Eid ul-Fitr, Prime Minister Narendra Modi hoped that the special occasion furthers the spirit of compassion and harmony. Hashtags Eid at home and Eid for migrants trended on Twitter with messages requesting people to stay at home and help those in need. And that is it from me and the entire team of News Tonight at the moment. We'll see you tomorrow at the same time with all the day's big stories. See you then. Good night and take care.